Guys, today on Oral Sessions, he was actually just on the show, but now he's back on the show because now I get to interview him because I did go back and listen to the episode and you were talking a little about how I haven't had you on the show.
I mean, I was a little offended. I've never been asked. I've seen some of the people you've had on. I'm like, you didn't ask me before this person?
Like who? Can we talk a little?
No.
We would never. Okay, so guys, we have on the GCW World Champion, Matt Cardona.
Should I show the title?
Of course.
I mean, I do just have it here just in case because I'm always ready.
Of course you do.
Got it right here. Look at that.
Always ready.
This will be a social clip, I'm sure.
How was it getting the blood off of that thing?
Oh, I really had to clean it. Like in the hotel the next day, I got a rag, soap, gave it a belt bath. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so speaking from experience, what was that like? I mean, we've got a lot to get into with all things GCW and all things Matt Cardona, but the cleanup experience for you, and then like the flight home, the flight home after
First,
that. Like, how was that?
I just called you bro, but
It's okay, I can
unbelievable.
handle
It was a disaster because believe it or not, there's no like medical staff backstage at GCW.
Shocker.
Luckily, there was a nurse who did stitch me up a bit. But then like all my slices and wounds were exposed. And luckily my friend John Carlo had a hotel room he let me use to shower off. And then he taped towels to me so I could fly home. And he like dressed me, like put a sleeveless shirt on me and my hoodie. And I went through airport security like that. And I was flying right to Anaheim for Disneyland for this trip I had planned. And like, I was just bleeding out on this flight and it would dry. And then as I would move, it would like rip open again. And like, there was just blood everywhere. I had to go to a hotel. Like my plan was just go right to meet Chelsea and go to Universal first, but I had to get a hotel and like clean up. I needed her to get bandages for me. It looked like I took a little nap in the hotel. It looked like I was stabbed somebody.
It's horrifying because I've obviously had a similar experience with John when he's come home, recently with his business with Nick Gage as well. That man is a menace to society, obviously. But he came home and he was wearing a leather jacket when he did his thing. And it's actually still in our laundry room downstairs because I was like, I don't really know how to address this. Like, if I take it to a dry cleaners, are they going to think that like someone was murdered?
Right,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
Like, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
So now I think the jacket just, I don't know, maybe you just auction it off. Maybe somebody will want it. No, that's
I sold all my bloody gear.
Did you?
For big bucks, baby. That's right.
That's right. More collection.
I sold the boots. I sold the wrist tape. I sold the gloves, the pants, the shirts, all sold separately.
What was the total that you made off of that?
I'd rather not say, but it was more than I got paid for the match. Let's just say that. And I got paid a lot for the match, but that's how much this stuff was going for. I don't control the market. It's supply and demand. It's supply and demand.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are now you're the hardcore king. How does it feel?
I am the deathmatch king. I am. I seriously want to be the face of GCW. I think there are some things that I can help bring to the table. Like maybe I think their merchandise needs some work. I think they need some ring aprons. Maybe a doctor backstage.
A few things to look into there. How did you feel going into this match? Did you know really what you were getting into?
Listen, like I've heard about Nick Gage. I've never seen a full Nick Gage match, but of course I've seen clips. I tried watching the Dark Side of the Ring. I couldn't get through it because it was too gory and disgusting. So like I knew, okay, I'm going to bleed in this match. It's going to happen. There's going to be light tubes. That's why I wore all white. I did not think my white shirt would turn red. I didn't think it would be completely red with no signs of white. I did not realize there would be pizza cutters or glass. Maybe I should have done more research. But it was intense. It was crazy. And I love it. It was such an adrenaline rush. I felt like I really got to be me out there. And the response from the people, like they absolutely hated me. And I loved that. I loved it. Was it scary that, some people were throwing pizza cutters at me after the match? Like, I think that's crossing the line a bit.
Yeah.
Throw a bottle at me, throw a beer, a soda, cool. But a pizza cutter.
A can. A bottle's a lot. A can is different. Yeah. A can fine, not a bottle.
A pizza cutter though, Renee. A pizza cutter.
That's nuts.
That's too much.
Yeah, like what were you thinking when that happened? I mean, that was like a big sort of uproar on the internet about People saying there was plants in the
Okay. If
crowd,
I'll say
blah,
this right
blah,
now,
blah.
if there was a plant and you want to expose yourself, I will give you $1,000 in cash, and then I will punch you in the face. Okay. If there's a plant, come clean. I'll give you $1,000.
Mm-hmm.
There was no plant. And if there was, I don't know about it. And I'd love to punch you in the face if there was. But my celebration got ruined because in my mind, I thought, okay, if I win, I have this sponsorship with Pabst Blue Ribbon, major PBR.
PBR, baby.
That's right. So I'm like, if I win this, how great would it be if I have a couple of PBRs and cheers and toast? So I told some people, hey, if I win this, slide in some PBRs. I didn't even get to do that because they're legitimately throwing things at me and I'm like covering up. It was pretty scary. And the GCW, I guess, security, like, bro, we got to get out of here. Go out the front, run out the front. I was like, okay, if they're scared, then I'm scared.
100%. I mean, you dethroned their king.
That's right.
That was such a huge moment. Would you have ever imagined during your time in WWE and being Zack Ryder to now not being in WWE, doing your own thing, that this would have been the pivot that you took in your career and now having what can be this whole new life in your career?
Yeah, no, I definitely would not have imagined it. And this kind of just fell into place. It fell into my lap and the opportunity was there. And at first I thought it was kind of like a joke. I don't know, like if fans started tweeting it or Nick Gage started tweeting me.
Everyone kind of thought that it was at first. It was like, wait, for real?
And I was playing along with it too. I just thought it was a joke. I'm like, yeah, sure. MDK, but I turned it into Major Detolf Collectors. A Detolf is this thing from IKEA that people put toys in. I'm like, yeah, I'm in. But then it turned into this. It escalated. And it's been a lot of fun. But I was very scared going into the match. 100, like right before I went to the curtain, I'm like, are they gonna try to kill me in here and like get some like legitimately kill me, like murder me in the ring? And it's like trending forever. GCW kills Cardona. Like I wasn't sure.
I don't think anyone was sure. I mean, John and I were watching it from home, and it was just to see something like that and to see that reaction. I mean, as a wrestler and as a wrestling fan, that's what you want.
Oh yeah.
But damn, that's horrifying. What was the worst part for you looking at a death match, as far as like the light tubes, the glass, like the pizza cutter?
I told myself going into this, like, okay, light tubes, whatever I'll do, chairs, whatever. I'm like, I'm not doing that pizza cutter bullshit. I'm not doing glass. But when you're in there with Nick Gage, you're going to do what he wants you to do. You don't really have a choice. So I went through glass. I got the pizza cutter and I superplexed him through this glass pane. And like, yeah, it hurt. I went through glass, but the referee was like, do you want to continue? Like legitimately, do you want to continue? Your arm is really, really bad. Your shoulder's like gushing blood. I'm like he was scaring me.
Yeah.
I was like, if this referee is scared for me, then I'm scared.
It must be hard to evaluate, how bad the damage is when you're relying on somebody else to kind of clue you into just how bad you're bleeding. If you're bleeding from somewhere you should not be bleeding from, especially with someone like Nick Gage, who died for 8 minutes doing a match like this. Like that's really scary stuff to be able to feel that out as you're going.
Yeah. And like I said, I knew I was going to bleed. That's why I wore the all white. I thought I'd have a couple like trickles of blood. I didn't realize it'd be covered. So I couldn't tell where the blood was really coming from, So when this referee is telling me that my arm is like really sliced up, but I've seen pictures afterwards, it looks like, doesn't even look like blood's coming out. It's like ooze is coming out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like that's when I got scared.
So it's been just over a week now?
Just over a week. Yeah.
Just over a week. How's the healing going?
It's not too bad. I don't know if I can show you. Like it's, it's okay.
Oh!
Like
the bruises, the gnarliest part. The bruises are terrible.
I just started going to the gym a couple days ago. I tried going and I was like, how am I going to do pull-ups with this, and then today someone pulled me aside the gym because I'm wearing like a broski cut shirt to show off the muscles. I can't wear sleeves to the gym. And he's like, oh, what happened to you? I'm like, oh, it was a wrestling match. He's like, he thought it was like collegiate wrestling. He's like, oh, did the person not cut their nails? I'm like, no, I went through glass. So that was a little awkward.
Not cut their nails. You're like, well, something else happened. For you, the reaction online, the fact that you guys were trending #1 in the US over the Olympics and over UFC.
Yeah.
That's huge. I mean, you are the internet
That's
champion,
right. I was about
obviously.
To say, then, now, forever. But
yes.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. It was cool. And I didn't sleep that whole night. I had an early flight. And then like my doctor, John Carlo, was attending to me. So I didn't sleep. So like I had like an extra hour that I got to the airport. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep in my car right now. I'll just go to the airport an hour early. And I was just going through my Twitter and I couldn't even make it through all the tweets in an hour. Like,
wow.
I just had to give up. So if you
Yeah.
tweeted me, thank you very much. I missed
only
it.
keep up with so much.
I missed it.
Looking at what Nick Gage has done now in his match on AEW with Chris Jericho, what do you think about seeing a match like that on mainstream television?
I think there's room for anything. I respected Nick Gage before the match, certainly now, not just because of like the violence, not just because he died in the ring, because he's made a name for himself again. And I saw firsthand like the love and respect that his fans give him. Mm-hmm. And like that can't, be, no writer can write that, that can't be manufactured. That's real. And he has this loyal, diehard fan base. And like, is deathmatch wrestling my favorite style of wrestling? No, it's not even. It's not. It's probably my
You're
least.
their king now.
I am their king, but and that's what they hate about me. But it's probably my least favorite style of wrestling. But who am I to say that it's not correct or it's not acceptable? I think there's room for anything, and I think the ratings prove that. I'm pretty sure the ratings for Jericho Gage were through the roof.
Yeah.
And then me and Gage were #1 over the UFC and the Olympics. So that kind of speaks for itself.
It's money. Yeah. I mean, as I say, what is it? Red in the face, green in the pocket?
Something like that. That's right.
Something like that. Yeah. It's really cool to see, and to see someone like Nick Gage with the cult following that he has, to see how that will translate onto a bigger stage. I mean, I feel like people are probably very protective of him and they feel like he is they're like, sure. I mean, they're right. obsessed with him, but to have him move on to that bigger stage, hopefully they will, they'll be into it and not want to like revolt against like the big machine.
Right. I hope they don't say like you sold out or anything like that. Let him have his moment, let him make some money.
Let the man make some money. Totally. Yeah. Let him get paid.
That's right.
In the Domino's thing. How about because I mean, you put out your post, of course, with the Domino's pizza and the pizza cutter.
You got it. I wasn't sure if everyone got it. Yeah, okay.
Of course, yeah, yeah. It's all what a time for wrestling. It's really very exciting to watch, and I feel like I'm watching everything just from the outside now because I don't work for any wrestling companies at all right now. So just to kind of watch everything that's happening, watching this part of your career for you, it's really cool to see the legs that things are taking on.
Yeah, there's so much going on. There's wrestling on TV like every night of the week. There's, who's going where. It's so much fun. I think it's a great time to be a fan. Certainly a great time for me to be a wrestler because I've been just doing whatever I want to do, having like the best time of my life. And I love it. I love that I can, if I wanted to, or if the company wanted me to, I could show up anywhere on any day. I have no contract. I hate using the term free agent, but I guess like I am. I can really do whatever I want. Nobody can tell me what to do, what not to do. And I'm just having so much fun.
What is it like being like a WWE guy for, a decade plus, and then going into somewhere like GCW? What is it like, sort of like the behind the scenes of that, or walking into a locker room of, other wrestlers that don't come from WWE?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want anyone to think that I have this, like, I'm better than you attitude. Cause I don't, not at all. And this past year, whether I did like the cup of coffee in AEW or the Impact stuff or the indie stuff or GCW, I've been just trying all these different new things. Or me and EC3, we put on this pay-per-view match, or the Major Wrestling Pockets, we put on a pay-per-view wrestling show. Like, I've done so much this year, and it's just fun to just try different things and just have fun. And it's not like I'm throwing things against the wall. I'm just trying all these things that I want to do.
Yeah,
it's great, and there's no one to tell me no.
What else do you want to do? What are some other like bucket list things, or different styles of matches, or different promotions that you want to work in? What's kind of on that, your vision board, the Matt Cardona dream board?
Yeah, I think I would love to go to Japan, Mexico. I've been there through WWE, but never like, I want to go there without WWE and really experience it and really be there for, not just a day or two. I've been just having so much fun with the podcast, the Major Wrestling podcast, and turning it into a podcast network where we just have like even more podcasts. And it's taken up so much time, but now we do live shows and we have our own action figures. and this is something that WWE wanted nothing to do with, which was a blessing in disguise, because we came to them and whatever it was called, the Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins wrestling podcast. They're like, no, we see nothing in collectibles. We see nothing in podcasts.
I know how that goes.
But you know what? It was a blessing in disguise because we get fired. It's this global pandemic. You can't go wrestle anywhere. How are you going to make money? Oh, we have this podcast and all these people are sitting home wanting content. And now, they're getting nostalgic for these toys. They have nothing. They can't spend money on anything else. So they're just buying these old toys and they want to hear people talk about it. So our business like blew up, and that all would have been taken away if we did the Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins wrestling figure podcast. It would have been gone.
It's so crazy how things like that work, that you assume being fired during a pandemic and watching, everything unfold the way that it has for WWE and the way it continues to unfold for WWE, you think everyone would just kind of hit a panic button where, you've really turned it into such a positive, you and Chelsea, watching what you guys have been able to do of just like keeping your careers going. It's a great time to be a wrestler. It's a great time to kind of take your career into your own hands. Did you feel that the whole time? Or like when you got that 203 number pop up on your phone, what kind of went through your mind when that happened initially?
So I kind of, we got this weird like link with Vince McMahon cutting this promo about how these cuts would be coming. And like, I was like, okay, I'm probably going to be on there, which it is what it is. Right. So that was like April, and my contract was going to be up in August, and I had not resigned because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was offered a new deal like everyone else was like a year before. And I still hadn't signed it because, of course, part of me wants to, maybe things will turn around. I always had hope and always was positive about it. At the end of the day, I was like, how much can I possibly do here? Let me try something else. But I didn't know. And the anxiety was eating me alive, and I didn't really know it until I got released. And like that anxiety was gone instantly. And it was like, oh my God, thank God. And at that point I was afraid, Gallows got fired, Anderson, Heath, Hawkins. Was like, oh my God, like, are they not going to fire me and just let me rot till August and have my contract? I'm like, oh no, at this point, please fire me. Like, I want to get fired. It's like, I already set up my pro wrestling T store. I was ready to make it live. And then as soon as I got released, like, hit it live. Let's go. Like, let's go.
That is so smart. I mean, I know that you've obviously made such a successful career off of, all things professional wrestling, but the fact that you had like the foresight to look into having that stuff ready to go so that you weren't left with your hands empty, like, as soon as that happened, you were like ready to go. I feel like so many other people would have been like clinging on to the hope of like, no, let me stay. But for you to kind of turn that into, no, now business is back in your hands.
Yeah, it was time. Listen, I am so grateful for WWE, the time I spent there. Like, my whole adult life was in WWE. I got signed when I was 20 years old. So my whole 20s were there, half of my 30s. I loved it. It was awesome. But it was time to leave, and they made that decision for me. So I guess they felt the same way,
Was there anything that you wish had gone differently during your time there?
Of course. Like, listen, everyone wants to be Goldberg and win every single title under the sun, but that's not reality. And, I don't want to look back with regrets. I'm very fortunate for the moments I did have. And I feel like the things I had were moments, and I genuinely scratched and clawed for those moments. And the fans, I think, saw that. So, when I win the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania, it's a moment. It's not just winning it,
Yeah.
It's like people have like felt it. At least I did. And then my dad, like hopping the guardrail legitimately, like, you can't write that stuff. And then, losing it the next day, I think that's part of the story. I wish I could have lost it that night. Like, who cares if I would have kept it for 2 months and lost it at Backlash to Cesaro? It doesn't matter. Everyone remembers I had that one day, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's the thing with wrestling. It's always about the moments and how people felt in those moments. And yeah, I think everyone who was watching WrestleMania at that time would remember that moment of you and your dad in the ring.
Sure.
Did your dad tan you for that?
He might have sprayed my back.
What did your dad think of the death match?
Oh, so him and my mom did not watch it, but they saw the pictures. They were not happy, especially my mom, not happy. Especially not happy when I kept posting more and more photos about it. And that's the thing, like, I'm going to rub this in everybody's face. So like, if you're asking like, how many times could he post pictures of this match? Oh, I have a lot more pictures to post, baby. Like, I want to rub it in everyone's face. Like, and not like, I don't want to, I always say this, I don't want to prove people wrong. I want to prove myself and my supporters right. But at this point, like this GCW audience, the GCW universe, they hate me. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make them hate me even more. I don't want to be liked. I don't want to convert them. Hate me.
Yeah. Well, but is there part of you that, I don't want to say like chip on your shoulder, but does want to prove to people what your body of work can look like now outside of WWE and now that you are in creative control of everything that you do?
Honestly, no, I do not care about proving anybody wrong. I just want to prove, like, I care about the people who supported me, whether it's from, the old YouTube show or, through the Major Wrestler podcast, or even like with the Edgehead days and the woo stuff. Like, I want to prove those diehards right. Like you made the right choice when you decided I'm going to root for this guy. I don't care about, the people on the internet or the haters. Like, good. Don't like me. Don't become a fan. If you do become a fan, great. And I'd love to have you, but that's not my goal, is to convert you over.
And keep buying that bloody merch.
That's right.
Buy it all piece by piece.
I put out like 10 new t-shirts this week. I don't care. Just pump them out, baby. Crumbs make crumb cake. Make that money.
100%. You're so smart about that. I love it. What is it like for you working with Chelsea? You guys got to team up recently, which was great, even though you teased that perhaps I could have been your tag team partner. Sure. And I think that, you overlooked my athletic prowess, and that's okay. How was it working with Chelsea?
It was cool. So I had the mystery partner at Impact Slammiversary. And like, come on, everyone knew it was going to be her. But sometimes in wrestling, you need to give the people what they want. The swerve is great, and there's always time for the swerve. Sometimes just give them what they want, or what, if they expect something, you got to give it. So it was fun teaming with her. Listen, I don't want to have like a mixed tag team career, but I would love to have her by my side. And it's great. It makes life easier. We have totally different schedules. I don't want to know anything about her wrestling stuff. I don't care where she's getting booked. I don't care like what move she wants to practice. I don't care what storyline she has in mind. I don't give a And I think that's what makes our relationship like last and work, is because we typically keep business and pleasure separate. So this will be a little interesting, actually traveling together. Like, we were in the same hotel last time Impact, and I hated it.
Why? I find this fascinating, because you guys were talking about this when Chelsea hosted my show. And I mean, obviously I can relate to a degree. I'm not wrestling, but from the wrestling world, I mean, John and I obviously end up talking about wrestling.
Yeah, of course, it's going to come up, of course.
But okay, why did you not like sharing a hotel room?
Because like I have my routine, right? I have my routine, and like she's getting like a makeup artist coming to do makeup at like 9 a.m. No, I got to get up. Like I don't want to be like changing in the bathroom or do my hair. Like I want to just be free.
Well, doing your hair is a whole process, right?
It's a whole process. The whole process. We could have a whole podcast about that.
Maybe you guys should just get like one of those conjoining rooms, and that way you can just keep the door open between the two, and then
I don't think there's anything wrong with having
where you need to.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being on separate floors, having separate rooms. Then when if we want to like, cuddle, whatever, make out, well, come to my room, babe. But like, no reason to be the same room. And like, like I said, I have my routine. I like lay out all my clothes, all my supplements. And
okay, I feel like that's where we need to take the bigger deep dive. You need to lay out all of your stuff more than you need to lay down next to your fiance. You're telling her to boot it up to another floor. Take the elevator or the stairs up to another room so that you can get all your out.
It's just a process, and like now with the podcast, if I have my podcast equipment set up, I don't.
Are you a little OCD? Are you a little OCD?
I guess it depends. Maybe sometimes.
It sounds like it.
My problem is I'm very like unorganized. So like my bags, when you open it up, looks like something exploded in there. So now I have to like reorganize when I get to the hotel.
I get that. John and I would kind of battle with that sometimes, because I always felt like I would get he would be on the road prior to me, because doing house shows, obviously, but I would get to TV before he did, TV hotel. So I felt like the room was always clean. Then he would come in and make it a mess, but he always claimed that it was me. And it was like, we still go back and forth. And we do that in the house now still, of trying to decide who the messy one is.
Yeah, and she's a big like room service, not room service, like housekeeping. Like I don't want them coming in. Like I don't care. Like if it's messy, I don't need the bed made. I don't need new towels. Because I want to leave my stuff out. I want to leave whether it's my podcast equipment or my rare wrestling figure I bought on the road out. I don't want someone coming in the room. Just get them out of here.
I kind of agree with that because there's nothing worse than when you're sleeping and they keep knocking on the door and you're like, no, I don't need my room clean.
That's
They
right.
can't hear you through the door
Oh,
and
it's
then
the
you've got to
worst.
get up and like, oh my God, that stuff drives me absolutely bonkers. We would go, yeah, I mean, I do not miss those days at all. Okay. How was it working with your ex, by the way, before I move on?
It was fine. It was actually, that
Yeah.
was actually my
Tennille
idea.
Dashwood is who I'm
Yeah.
speaking about, everybody,
That was actually my
obviously.
idea to do
Yeah.
this mixed tag. And I wasn't sure if everyone would go for it, and everyone did. And it ended up
Great.
being really, really fun. And we were all super professional about it. And it was almost awkward because it wasn't awkward.
Okay.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
you're like, are we all just pretending this is cool, but it's not, but it
Yeah.
actually just
It was,
was.
hey, I thought it was fine. I hope everyone else did.
Well, people enjoyed watching it,
Yeah.
so that's kind of all that really matters. And we've moved on, and now you're the deathmatch king.
That's
So
right.
it's all behind you. Okay, so all of your collector items that are behind you, what is the most prized possession of them all?
Oh, this is just like stuff for a backshot. This is even like top shelf stuff. I got another room. Yeah, I mean, that's like my addiction is wrestling toys and collectibles. Not just wrestling, there's other things I have like Ghostbusters, Star Wars, Ninja Turtles. I mean, I think if anyone knows me or follows me on social media, they can tell I'm just a big kid who kind of never grew up, you know. And now that I actually make some money, I can get some like really rare stuff and not just have to go to Walmart and Target, you know. So I can get like pre-production stuff that never came out, that was, you know, for instance, in a wrestling magazine or in a Christmas catalog, but it only got to that stage. And I have a couple of those in my collection. So that's really, really cool. I call myself the Michael Jordan of wrestling figure collecting.
No doubt.
That's right.
Clearly,
That's
you
right.
are at the tippy top upper echelon of collectors. But if your house was on fire right now and you could only take one thing
Sure.
with you, what would you be getting?
Okay, so I get asked this question a lot, and this, not that my house was ever on fire, but a couple of years ago there was
Hopefully not.
there was supposed to be a really bad hurricane, and I went up and I got this out of the toy room and I took it with me, like, so I had it safe. It's this unreleased Greg the Hammer Valentine figure in his rhythm and blues outfit where he has the black hair. It was in a Toys R Us ad in a WWF magazine in like 91, and it never came out. So as a kid, I thought I just didn't have it because I would go to the stores and look for it. Years later, you learn it was unreleased, which is kind of, you know, it's common in the toy biz that things just don't come out for whatever reason. And I was able to obtain the hand painted prototype from, like, people think I go on eBay, which I do sometimes, but it's all these like underground like Facebook like groups and stuff like that. And I was able to buy it from a ex Hasbro employee, and now that's my number one. And I'm not even like a Greg the Hammer Valentine fan. Yeah, not that I'm not a fan of his. I'm just not like,
Sure.
It's just the figure. You know what I'm saying?
How much did you pay for that?
I'd rather not say.
Come on, tell me.
I acquired it in a lot of other pre-production items, and it was like, you have to buy it all or nothing. You can't just buy it like piece by piece. So I spent $43,000 on the lot. But however,
shut the up.
That's true.
Oh my
but I'm a toy businessman, so I was able to keep what I wanted, including that Greg, flip the rest, and make a profit. So I won.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
See, I'm not just like, yeah, I know what I'm doing.
This is a lucrative business.
Yes. Listen, I know nothing about stocks, the stock market. I have some things in there. I don't know what I'm doing. But the toy business, oh yeah, baby, I'm in.
See, I mean, I will say, my knowledge of your toy collecting and the mass amounts of money that you were spending on these things is usually coming through either Dolph Ziggler telling me about it or Miz.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm hearing, and it blows their mind of what you do. But I did not know that you were flipping it around and also making an insane profit off of it. So
not always, but I have. I don't buy things to flip things, but sometimes an opportunity presents itself. Like, I buy things and I say, I let them breathe. Like, I just open them up. I don't care about the value. I don't care about how much it's going to be worth in 5 years. I buy them for me and to display them. But if someone, offers me a lot of money for something, I'll do it. Like, for instance, this is a weird story. Like in the 80s, this company LJN, they made Miss Elizabeth, whatever. Like, I have it. Miss Elizabeth, she's in her skirt, whatever. But in the factory or the warehouse, like, they were around and they made a couple naked ones, like nipples, pubic hair, like,
really,
like it wasn't for sale. It was just like kind of
what
like
was like the Bush situation.
Pretty bushy. Yeah. So of course,
the 80s. Good for her.
yeah. So when I was presented the opportunity to buy this, I felt like I just had to, right? So I had it,
Yeah.
but then when I got it, I felt like just dirty, and I knew like Macho Man would be very upset that I own this.
Sure, he'd be
and
pissed.
Like, you can't proudly display this like this naked woman, you know?
I don't know. I would have.
So like I had her on display, but she was like in the back, so you couldn't tell she was naked.
What a prude.
Yeah,
what a prude you are.
So anyway, so we did a YouTube video about the history of the LJN figures, and I brought it out, and we even blurred it. You know, we were very PG. We blurred it out.
Wow.
And somebody contacted me about it to buy it. So listen, not for sale. Because people hit me up all the time to buy my stuff. I say not for sale. And they kept just like DMing me. I said, okay, bro, make me an offer. I can't refuse. He made me an offer. It was pretty good. I'm like, add a couple thousand to that. I sold it for $45,000.
Holy
naked Miss. There was a couple other things involved, but yeah. So essentially $45,000 for naked Miss Elizabeth.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you even how do you do a transaction like that? People just like Venmo you this money?
Yeah, so it's very risky. So like bank transfers or like PayPal, friends and family. I've done a lot of cash deals, believe it or not, in Disney World. Like people will be like coming on vacation and either buying something from me or selling me something, and we'll meet up at like a hotel and like do like a cash deal in the parking lot, like shady stuff.
That's
but I love it.
Shady.
I love it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. So of everything that's in your house, you've got everything behind you, which you said is, not top shelf business.
Yeah. These are just props. These are props.
How much do you think everything is worth that you have there? Do you keep track of that? Do you have a filing system?
I don't, not a filing system, but I do have the room insured for $800,000.
Whoo!
So it could be a little less, a little more, maybe. And items and their value fluctuate. But yeah, I definitely have the room protected, locked, motion sensors, glass break alarm. It's
good. Wow.
It's like Mission Impossible if you want to get in there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you let people in there when you have like visitors and stuff?
Sometimes people ask and I let them in, but I have so much stuff in there. It's like too much stuff. Like when I first bought this house, I was single. I was by myself. I was like, oh yeah, 4-bedroom house. Like, oh, this is great. And I remember Christian came over, Jay, I had like this like housewarming party. He came over, he's like, yeah, nice little starter home, kid. And I was like so offended. Like, starter home, what are you talking about? I'm gonna live here forever.
He's such a snob.
Yeah, but he's right, because now with Chelsea and we have 2 dogs and 3 cats, and if we ever have kids, and with my toys, I don't have enough room for things. So anyway, there's like the door won't fully open, so you have to do like the Scott Hall walk to get in.
Oh my!
You know what I'm saying? You know that Scott Hall walk?
Yeah.
So one time Otis was over, and he wanted to see the room.
Oh my God!
Otis, I love Otis, but he's got a big belly.
Literal bull in a china shop.
And his belly knocked into one of my Detolf cases and like knocked over all my Terminator figures. So I'm like, oh, it's okay, man. It's okay. But inside I was pissed.
You're sweating.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I had no idea the level. I mean, I knew, but I didn't know, like, to even get it insured. How do you go about that?
There's a whole collectible like insurance like company.
Wow.
Because like people like they insure like whether it be like trading cards or stamps or like vintage gun, like there's all like anything really.
Okay, so you obviously have all the wrestling figures. You mentioned Ninja Turtles, Terminator, Ghostbusters. Is there anything else in there that we're missing?
Star Wars, like I have a I don't know if you're familiar with Star Wars at all, but I have this.
I mean, I've heard of it.
Okay, well, there's this Han Solo in carbonite statue. It's very famous in one of the movies, and I have that when you first walk into my house. I just posted a picture with him holding the GCW title. I draped. Yeah, that's it. So Chelsea was here and I wasn't when that arrived. And that was not a good day for me.
Ooh, who's worse of getting like packages sent to the house, you or her?
Oh, 100% me. And she gets so pissed because like, it's always packages. She gets excited and it's not for her, but I'm thinking like, did you order anything? Like, what do you think people are just going to send you stuff? Like,
sometimes that happens. Sometimes
no, trust me. A lot of weirdos get our address sometimes, but I get packages every single day. And I tell myself it's for work because I could talk about it on the podcast.
And I mean, in the end, should you ever be in a pinch, these are things that you can just turn around and sell, right?
Yes. Listen, like I said, I don't want to sell this stuff. I don't plan on it, but if I had to, I could and make a lot of money. It would take me a while to do, but it could be done.
you could be doing okay. And now, okay, so you moved from obviously being in Long Island
That's
down
right.
to Florida. What was that like for you making that transition from New York to Florida? Where do you stand on that?
Looking back, it was the best decision I ever made.
Oh,
It was very
okay.
scary to leave Long Island because, I left home before for wrestling. I lived in McDonough, Georgia. I lived in Louisville, Kentucky, but like Long Island was home, and my family were there. My friends, they still are. Um, and coming down to Orlando was like, is this the right move? And then once I got here, I blew out my knee. So it's like, I thought I was going to be here like 2.5 days a week. Turned out to be like 7 days a week. I'm like, oh, this is going to suck, you know? But I ended
Yeah.
up meeting like Chelsea like right away. And like, if I didn't move to Orlando, I wouldn't have met her. So it all
I
worked out.
really, not to like harp on the you and Chelsea thing and turn this into a relationship thing, but knowing you and seeing you with someone that I feel like you guys are really like a perfect pair.
Yeah, I think so too. When we clicked like right off the bat. Well, not right off the bat, because at first she like was like trying to like, oh, I'm sick, I can't go on this date, or like trying to get out of things. And eventually I
Yeah.
said, listen, are we going on this date or not? We went on one, and then we didn't see each other for like another month, but we would text every day. And then after date two, like that was it. She was hooked,
I mean, I get it. I know how it goes. I feel like John and I were very similar to that as soon as we actually hung out and got together, we're like, oh, I guess like we're just always together now.
Yeah, and
That's just
like
how it's gonna be.
I didn't want to date a wrestler. I told myself forever, I'm not going to date anyone in the business. And then I finally did, like we mentioned before, didn't work out. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely not dating a wrestler in the business.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like very, very hesitant, like hanging out with her, but I wasn't really taking it seriously. And then like, a couple weeks go by and like her toothbrush is there. And then like,
Uh-huh.
like she left her shirt there.
Start
Like,
infiltrating the
yeah.
property.
And now, we have, you know, 3 cats and 2 dogs. We're gonna get married. So it all worked out.
When are you getting married? What's going on with this? I feel like this has been long drawn out because
Yeah.
of the
So we were
pandemic.
supposed to get married last New Year's Eve, but with the pandemic and everything, it got, we had to cancel it. So
Yeah.
the plan is to do it again this year, New Year's Eve.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Where are you
So
going to do it?
Las Vegas.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's where I live. You
Wow.
guys should come get married in our backyard the way that John and I did. We got married off of Yelp. You guys should do that. $500.
Wow. I wish I was spending $500, but it's been a little more than that.
Little more pricey than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you left WWE, I remember seeing something about what they wanted to use your pool for a shoot or something.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
the happened?
So it didn't go through me, so I might be like messing up specifics, but
Okay.
Chelsea still worked in WWE, and they were doing something with Otis and Mandy Rose, and they needed a pool.
Mhm.
So they asked Chelsea if they could use like our pool. And then like Chelsea asked me, and I said like, absolutely not. So I don't know how she relayed the message, but I was pretty damn pissed. I'm like,
No,
you're telling me you don't know anyone who lives in Orlando has a pool?
right?
Obviously they did. They found somebody.
Yeah, like whether you're in Orlando or like, I mean, Tampa's what, a 2-hour drive, if that. Everyone else is in Tampa. Like, couldn't have found something else. The
An Airbnb?
audacity.
Yes. Exactly. The audacity.
Unbelievable. Like when I heard that, I was like, there's no way that couldn't have happened.
That
I mean,
is
I
true.
can believe it.
It's
I
true.
can believe it,
Yes.
but like, my God, how dare they?
That's kind of how I felt, but it is what
Maniacs.
it is. It's no big deal.
And I would say not to harp on WWE things, but I do have to ask you this because I still haven't wrapped my head around it. How do you feel about everything that's happening there now? I mean, to see someone like Bray Wyatt just get let go, what is your reaction to something like that?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, they say budget cuts, but aren't they like doing very, very well?
They're in the green.
Yeah. So
I mean,
but maybe that's why. If I let everybody go, I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what it is. I can't. I'm not in those meetings. I have no idea what's going on. I think it's obvious that someone like Bray Wyatt is going to be just fine if he chooses to be. But I don't think you necessarily need to be a top guy like Bray to be just fine. You could be anybody and be just fine. But guess what? Newsflash, you got to work. You got to hustle. You got to bust your ass, because it's not just going to happen for you. You like crumbs make crumb cake. Do everything you can. Pro wrestling tees, indies, start a podcast, whatever your passion is, do something. It doesn't have to be a podcast. It can be whatever you want. But if you're just going to sit on your ass and think like you're going to make this WWE money, newsflash, spoiler alert, ain't going to happen.
What do you think about sort of the general sentiment that it seems online, especially, or maybe that is people's mindsets in general, that as soon as someone is not in WWE, that instantly it means that they're going to sign to AEW and go and try and make the same money that they were making, or just try and be on TV the same way? Like, what's kind of your feel on that?
I mean, how many people can they take?
Oh, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. How much money can you have to then not start bottoming out themselves?
Right. So, I was there for, I think I did like 3 or 4 shows, and it was great. It was a great time. I loved it. It was fun. Buzzworthy stuff. It was cool, like meeting all these new people or teaming with Cody. But then at the end of the day, like, they didn't offer me a deal and I didn't ask. So that was it. I was like, okay, like, time to move on. That was it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit around and wait. I'm not going to sit around and cry. Like, time to go do other things,
And it's not just that one option. It's not either WWE or AEW. I mean, like you said, you've been able to do Impact, you're doing GCW, you're able to bop around and do many different things and collect bank from so many different spots. But I think people's mindsets can be a little like narrow-minded on that.
Yeah. Like, I love working hard. And I felt like in WWE, for me personally, I wasn't able to work hard because like I wasn't given the opportunity to work hard. You
can only do so much and you're spinning your wheels.
Right.
Yeah.
So like now I feel like I can work my ass up, and listen, not everything's going to be a success, but at least I have the opportunity to try. And that's like, that's all I've ever wanted was opportunity. So like now, like I have this safe in my house full of like graded trading cards that are worth money and cash that I make on the indies. I just love adding the cash. I mean, I love adding.
Isn't that cool?
It's great.
It's really exciting.
It's great.
We have one of those too, and I'm always like, oh my God, is this like legal?
Yeah. So it is. And like and then like I take some cash out to go buy like graded trading cards because it's my new thing. Is like whatever. But
wait, what is a graded trading card? What is that?
Cards are like trading cards are in right now. Like they're very, very in.
Is that like a brand of them?
No, you get them graded. Like there's companies that grade them like out of like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And they're worth like, it could be worth thousands and thousands of dollars. So like for me, like I said, I don't know anything about like stocks or bonds, but like I'll invest in a Macho Man rookie card, and like there are these nice slabs. But like I can't like display them anywhere. So they're just like in protective cases in my safe.
Wow.
It's like currency, but it's Macho Man, Undertaker rookie card, Bret Hart rookie card.
F off Bitcoin.
That's right.
You've got the trading cards. Who needs it? How cool is it? I mean, for somebody like you, it says you want to work hard, you want to always be doing different things, to not have been able to necessarily be in the driver's seat during your time in WWE, to now being able to do that in other promotions. How is that going in like working in that mindset now?
It's cool to just have like say and like, and for someone like me, I didn't necessarily have that say. And that's fine. I'm not complaining about that.
That's just the way the system works. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Not everyone can be the top guy. Not everyone could win every match. And I get it.
Once a huge machine like that, you can only do so much.
Sure, exactly. But now, like, I feel like in Impact, I have a lot of like input, or I help them out with like merch stuff. I'm like, hey, we should be doing this. Like, I don't even work there, and I'm on these business calls about their merch, but it's fun for me. It's fun. Or like I had this idea for like how we should debut Chelsea and like the entrance we should do. Like they wouldn't have listened to me if I asked to do that in WWE. Would they have listened to somebody else? Sure, but not me. Right. But now, like in these places, they are listening to what I'm saying. And not that I know everything, but I think that I do know a little bit.
Yeah. You've been around, some things to apply that. And one other thing that I always find really interesting about you, and after listening to your episode with Chelsea and just, knowing you over time, and this is something that John's always said about you too, is how, and I mean, your tagline is always ready.
That's right.
But that is such a thing for you, to always be in incredible shape, always be tanned, always look the part, always be there, like ready to go. How hard is it to maintain that over, the past 15 years or whatever?
Listen, it's become a lifestyle, but listen, I'll also say, I think I also invented the passive aggressive, negative, bitter tweet. I think if you go back to like 2012, when my whole YouTube run was getting killed off, I think I was doing them then before anybody else, before it was cool to bitch on the internet. So I was definitely in a bitter spot, negative spot. I would always, and I'm not proud of that, but that's the truth. I was. And then one day I realized like, hey, guess what? Like bitching on the internet or being miserable, it's not changing my situation in the company, and it's not making me any happier. So like, I just changed my mindset. And in this wrestling business, there's only a couple things you can control, like really, truly control. And that's your physique. No one's going to say you can't work out, right? No one's going to say that. No one's going to say like you can't have nice gear. You can't, oh, that gear is too nice. You can't, you spend too much money on that gear. And then also nobody can say you can't be happy, right? So you can control your attitude, your gear, and your physique. And I just tried to like kill those three things. And then like always ready. So for instance, if Vince McMahon is watching Main Event one day, he says, why are we doing anything with him? Oh, 2 weeks later, I win the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania. Listen, it's not always going to happen like that, but you never know. So you always got to be ready for any situation. And if you're not getting opportunities every single week, when you actually get one, you better be ready, because if you blow it, that's on you.
Yeah. Do you like meditate or anything to like think about these things like every day?
So I'm not naturally positive person. I'm definitely like naturally like a half glass empty person.
Yeah. Like being a pessimist.
Yes, that's how I'm actively trying to change my ways. And I've been for the past like decade or so, ever since that whole YouTube thing blew up in my face. But every day I wake up and I list things I'm grateful for and goals, and it just like instantly puts me in like a better spot.
It's really, I mean, because I don't do that, but I think about doing that, because that really is the thing of like kind of like set your intention every day just to keep yourself on track, because it's very easy to veer off of that, whether it's just by like a little peg each day that all of a sudden you're like, now I'm miserable because I've let myself fall down this rabbit hole.
Right.
But to kind of keep your train on the tracks by, setting those intentions every day.
Yeah. And not every goal has to be like a long-term goal. It could be some short ones, because then if you get, if you achieve those short-term goals, you build confidence and gain momentum. And like, why not write down your goals every morning? Like if you can't spend 5 minutes writing down your goals, they're obviously not that important.
Yeah.
Like this is stupid, I don't have 5 minutes to write these down. Well, if you don't have 5 minutes, think about that. If your goals aren't worth 5 minutes a day, how important are they?
What did you write down today?
So I didn't write them down today, I'll be honest. I was in a rush. I had to do legs. I had to do this podcast. All
right. So maybe it's like an every other day, but you're still maintaining the focus.
So there's some things like I want to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness. That's one of them.
Okay. That's achievable.
I want to be a world champion. Well, I'm the GCW world champion. So I guess I achieved that.
Mission accomplished.
What else is on there? I want this podcast network to turn into something even bigger. I want it to be like, I want it to have like a TV show. I want it to just like, I love wrestling. I don't want to have to wrestle. And I think like I'm almost there. Like I just want the podcast to be its own thing, where like the wrestling's like the fun part. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to list everything because then they might not come true.
Are you superstitious about things like that?
No.
I can definitely be like, I can be like that a little bit. Sometimes I like, there's certain things that I feel like I want to like tell people, because then I feel like it almost makes it come true more.
Sure.
If
well,
you like put it,
you got to hold yourself accountable.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if something kind of comes up like, oh, I like booked this thing, or, you're auditioning for something or whatever, it makes it like a little more real to like kind of put that out there.
I think it's definitely like, there's something to like, for a while, I would like take the things that I wanted and goals and make it like a collage and make that the wallpaper of my phone. So like every time I look at my phone, I would see it, and like subconsciously it would just be there.
Yeah.
And just keeps you on track.
That visual, being like a visual person, I feel like that absolutely does help. I need to start doing this. I'm going to start implementing it into my life tomorrow. It's happening.
Me too.
Tomorrow,
I'm gonna get back on track with the writing.
Let's do it. Tomorrow it's happening.
Yeah.
Okay. And who is on your wish list to work with wrestling wise?
Oh man, there's so many people. Like your husband. I would love to have a death match with your husband.
Oh my God, imagine that.
So for a while, I was
Me and Chelsea would like really need to form our support group at that point.
Yeah. So I wrestled him a bunch of times, and then for a while I was like the guy, if someone was coming up from FCW or NXT, like I'd wrestle them for a couple of months, like on the live events or dark matches. So I worked him a lot. But even like, there's like I say great match. He probably doesn't even remember it, but I wrestled him in China once for like the US title. It was like really, really cool for me. But I would love to wrestle him all these years later in this like more hardcore deathmatch style.
That would be insane. Oh my God. I would be like nervous to watch that.
I would be the ultimate heel there. People would hate me. And like, I love to wrestle like Kenny Omega. Everyone says he's the best, right? So I've never I might have wrestled him in Deep South Wrestling. I doubt it. He was there at the same time I was, but
yeah,
I don't think we ever touched there. Jay White, just so many, and like Impact, there's guys like Moose. I'd love to wrestle Moose, or
mm-hmm.
I had a fun match with Sami Callihan. I'd love to wrestle him in like a deathmatch style match. There's just, I feel like I said this when I got released. I felt like it was Christmas morning, and all these wrestlers were like these wrestling toys that I could open and play with.
Yeah.
Like if you were having your fig fit as a kid, oh, I got the headbangers for Christmas. You know, like that's what, and I just wrestled the headbangers. Like stuff like that's cool for
that's
me. You
crazy.
know?
Yeah. Did you never worked with Sami Callihan when he was at NXT, did he?
No,
or did you? No,
never. So we had one match, and like I felt like we had some great chemistry, and some people you just click with right away. And I was very happy with our match, and I would love to do it again, like with more substance behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now people are gonna have you're gonna have a fan base of people that are gonna want to see this all kind of come together and see this other side of things.
Now, guys, listen, I'm not doing death matches every weekend, so don't email bookmattcardona@gmail.com and think I'm doing a death match at your local indie. Ain't happening, pal.
I'm just saying, I mean, maybe you can take a little of the pressure off of my household. And you can fill that void, and we don't have to. I'm saying he doesn't have to do it. You can do it. It's all you. All right. Well, dude, I really appreciate having you on. Finally, even though these are like back-to-back episodes, it has been a little while.
You didn't have the Singh brothers on before me, did you?
No.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
No, but you know what? They did dodge me, and they did Jericho's show. So
I love the Singh brothers.
I love the Singh brothers too.
Yeah, but if they do something before me, I can't do it.
They've not been on yet. You're in the clear, but I will let them know that the sentiment is out there that you were definitely on the show before them.
Good.
All right, I will let you get to stretching out your legs. You just had leg day. Get those arms out, keep them out. That's what the people came to see. I've also started cutting the sleeves off of my shirt.
That's right.
So I understand where you're coming from. And best of luck to you with everything. Really excited to watch everything and continue to see where you go. And hopefully you won't be bleeding out in your shirts.
That would be great. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, hell yeah. Thanks, dude.